magandang araw sa ating lahat. Nandito tayo muli sa ating video. Mag-review tayo ng mga video. Okay, kung ano sinasabi ng channel nito.
Well, from the very beginning, we have been lied to. Safe and effective when referring to the shots being falsely referred to as vaccines. Vaccine, by definition, would give you immunity, suggesting that there is no effectiveness to the safe and effective shots. Safe? I think not. More than double the amount of deaths have been caused by this shot in just 9 months than by all previously rolled out and approved vaccines combined. Now the push comes for the booster shots. You got to go get the boosters. This is a big hoax, too. Joining us now, Dr. Jane Ruby. What exactly are these booster shots?
Everybody better take a closer look, Stu. The booster shot is nothing more than a third full dose of 30 micrograms of the original two-shot series in the Pfizer series. Look, the FDA on September 17th came out with their briefing book, which is their digestion of Pfizer's request for this third booster. They really didn't even do any separate studies on the booster, to be honest with you, at all. They conducted a single phase 1 trial. They actually did that way earlier, and they used 12 subjects over the age of 65. But that was not to study a booster. Then they did the phase 2, 3. Remember, they're doing 1, 2, and 3 simultaneously.
Right.
Unprecedented, never heard of before. And by combining these multiple phases of the drug research, this is unprecedented. It's dangerous. One phase is supposed to feed into the next one. And they just never studied in phases 2 and 3 portion. They never studied anybody over 55. So now they're coming out, as I predicted. Remember I said Pfizer would come out with great numbers for this booster in terms of their data, and then the CDC would be right in lockstep and start to recommend it. And look very carefully at who they're recommending it for. First of all, after 6 months, people who are 65 years of age and older, they didn't study those people at all. Long-term care residents and staff, those who are 18 years of age and older, who have what they call medical conditions, including asthma, diabetes, and obesity. That covers a tremendous number of the American public. And those over 18 years old, watch this, who work and live in high-risk settings, including healthcare workers, teachers, grocery store workers. I mean, that's just everyday average people. So the dupe, the sham, is that they're going to be able to give themselves a wide berth to throw everybody in there, give employers, whatever employees are left, the full reign to demand it for their livelihood. And then there's a little asterisk on the CDC recommendations. They're so cute in the way they throw these things in. It says guidance for Moderna and J&J vaccine recipients are forthcoming. And I would bet my soul on the fact that those are going to be similar. But let me go on to talk just a little bit more about what Pfizer presented to the FDA for consideration to approve or extend the EUA over these boosters. In terms of safety, of the 300 people that received, when we say booster, that would just be a third full dose. And by the way, Stu, when you get a booster, like a tetanus booster for some other traditional vaccine, those are generally speaking a smaller, more a lighter dose, if you will, because you're getting a boost. You're not redoing the whole thing. But of the 300 people that received their third full dose, they claim one had a heart attack 2 months later, and 5% had enlarged lymph nodes. In terms of effectiveness, Stu, there is no effectiveness reported. Just look at the package insert, as I've reviewed on your show before. But they claim that the FDA made Pfizer go back and review its data from the pivotal trial. That would be the data that is ongoing, stages and phases 1, 2, and 3. And let me go on, just let me share a little bit more with you.
Third dose of the same exact thing, a third dose of these nanobots, these living, self-aware things that we have looked at. I mean, a third dose of this. And by the way, all the people that you mentioned, these high-risk people, these are all the people coincidentally, and especially the ones that are being mandated to take it or lose their jobs.
Yeah. And they approved this booster when Pfizer themselves admitted that they broke their randomized placebo-controlled trial. They broke the blinding, and then they gave it to the people who originally got placebo. So how are you really going to get data for that? There's no design for that.
It's just wild.
And I want to quote page 22 of the FDA's briefing document from September 17th. They said, and this phrase has been going around social media, quote, and listen very carefully, listeners and viewers, an additional analysis, this is from the FDA's website, page 22, section 6.4.6. An additional analysis appears to indicate that the incidence of COVID-19 generally increased in each group of study participants with increasing time after the second dose. So, Stu, if two don't work, doesn't it make perfect logic? Why not get a third? I mean, this is absolutely absurd.
This is
and
why they talk about this antibody-dependent enhancement, because they know that people are going to be subjected to or introduced to other natural viruses as the fall season comes, and that they are going to be more likely now and more susceptible to contract these viruses, whatever they might be, coming in from who knows where, Afghanistan, now from Mexico, from all over the world through our southern border by unchecked, unvetted, unvaccinated people. This is not an accident.
No, and as Karen Kingston has said, the brave whistleblower from formerly with Pfizer, in many interviews, in interviews with you and many others, she's said, look, before the third shot, the infection rate was 1.3%. After the two series and then the third, it jumps to 4.34. That's a 300% jump in infection rate. You're not preventing anything. And Stu, I want to call attention to this. I provided you with this really interesting tweet from a grandmother who is this gives you an idea of the level of fear that is driving many people in the American public and around the world. She's full of anxiety, and she's living in fear. In her own words, she's living in fear until her 7-year-old is authorized to get this injection. In fact, she says, I have this sweet 7-year-old grandson. She provides a picture of him. I pray every day they'll allow him to be vaccinated soon. I live in fear until then. Stu, after what we've seen from Dr. Carrie Madej and heard from countless others, the German press conference last week, like you said, the nanobots, the chemicals, I can't even think about it. She can't wait for her 7-year-old to be poisoned. This is outrageous.
Look at those eyes. Look into the eyes of that kid. The smiles, the normality there. That is God's child right there, and this synthetic substance to be thrown into the DNA of this young child. It's
permanently.
It's just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, and
irreversibly and permanently, and for God knows what.
Subscription to boosters and endless shots in the arm of God knows what. And I'm telling you, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop on its own. I mean, the threshold for death, there isn't one. The scrutiny for following laws and policy and regulations has been completely thrown out the window. The accountability for lies and propaganda and danger is just completely absent in all of this. And then you have grandparents like this looking into the eyes of look at this. Look at this kid. Look at this child. And then multiply that exponentially by all of the people who have been sadly misled by the likes of Fox News, by Newsmax, by President Trump, by everybody that's pushing, Fauci, all of the people that are pushing for this thing are being misled. They're being guided right to this thing that we witnessed right in front of us. And there are pictures that you and I, for full disclosure here, there are pictures that we are looking at on a daily basis that have not yet been broadcast because we have to do our diligence in verifying the validity of the person that is producing these pictures and the science that they, and who they are and where they're from and all these other things. And I believe that some of the pictures, specifically the ones that we shared this morning with one another, I mean, this is really dangerous. I mean, this is a, I don't even know how to put this into words. You have to shake every single person that you come into contact with. If you're a listener here or a viewer here and you know the truth about these shots, when you're in the pharmacy and you see somebody asking the pharmacist questions about their informed consent on this Comirnaty or Pfizer or Moderna J&J shots, you better tell them. You better wake up your neighbors and your congregation at church. You better tell that lady in the supermarket You know, I mean, look at everywhere that you can go get one of these shots. You can go get one at a ball game now
Yeah,
on the concourse.
and Stu, the reason there's an urgency is not just because we've seen what's coming. And by the way, it's coming from hundreds of doctors. It's not just it's going to come from all sides. The reason this is urgent and important is because there's a fourth booster in production. It's in their protocol. It's in all of the companies' protocols. You just have to download them from the internet. It's not
Unbelievable.
It's right there in front of you.
I went
There's a
into
fourth booster.
I went into a real human rant there. I'm sorry, and I'm out of time. I gotta go. Dr. Jane Ruby, have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Thanks, Stu.
Okay, so some more videos like this, go to stupeters.tv and yung kay Dr. I think Jane Ruby. Right. Wait natin. Yan. Dr. Jane Ruby. Okay, .tv. So, tayo mismo mag-isip tayo sa ating napanood ngayon, nangyayari yan sa Amerika. Ang tanong ay, nangyayari ba yan sa atin ngayon? O mangyayari ba yan dito sa Pilipinas? Sino ang may isip ng lahat na ito? Sino ang may pakana ng lahat ng ito? Anyway, hindi ito pwedeng sabihin natin fake news. Dahil maaaring hindi nakakarating ito sa atin. Pag YouTube kasi na yung direct na ito ay nasisensor. Baka ito rin aking review na ito at pakikinig natin, baka dahil ito yung nasa YouTube, baka masensor din ito. So you better download it, okay, and review, show to others. Let's have a critical thinking, okay, at pag-pray natin yung mga bagay na nangyayari na ito. With that again, magandang araw, magandang gabi sa ating lahat na nanonood at nananalangin para sa ating bayan, para sa ating bansa.